For the next few minutes, this isn't just a message, it's a mirror. And if you listen, really listen, you'll begin to sense a shift not just in your mind, but in the very structure of your reality. Because there is something you've overlooked, something so powerful, it only needs to be said once. But when you say it from the right place, it bends everything around you. You've been taught that effort brings results, that struggle leads to reward. But deep down, you've noticed something else. The things you chase the hardest often feel the furthest away. The people you cling to slip through your fingers, and the money you desperately need seems to hide. But what if it's not the desire itself? What if it's the energy behind the desire that's blocking the flow? Let's begin with a moment. A woman sits alone in a dimly lit apartment, bills piling on the table, heart heavy from a recent breakup. She's tried everything: affirmations, vision boards, scripting, and still nothing shifts. But one night, she stumbles upon a recording of Neville Goddard. His voice is calm, assured, and he says something strange. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. She pauses. Not hope for it, not beg for it. Assume it. So instead of repeating mantras like a machine, she closes her eyes and simply whispers one sentence. It's already mine. Not with desperation, but with quiet certainty. And in that moment, something unlocks. She goes to sleep, not in lack, but in love. Not in scarcity, but in wealth. The next morning, her phone lights up. A client who ghosted her weeks ago suddenly wants to pay in full. And later that week, she meets someone, not at a bar, not through a dating app, but in line at a bookstore where both reached for the same book. A coincidence or a reflection? Because the world doesn't respond to your words, it responds to your state. You don't manifest what you want, you manifest what you are. When you say it's already mine and mean it, the chase ends, the resistance dissolves, and reality has no choice but to mirror the shift. This is not magic, it's law, the law of assumption, and it doesn't require years of practice, just a moment of alignment, just once. Say it once, but feel it fully, and watch everything around you begin to move. Now, stay with me, because the second part of this shift is what truly changes everything. There is a hidden moment, a sacred silence, just before the shift happens. A second ago, you were one version of yourself, and then everything changes. You don't need to strive, you don't need to fight, you don't even need to ask again, because the moment you truly step into the version of you that already has it, reality bends. This is not theory, it's not a trick of the mind, it is law, and it starts with just one decision. One sentence spoken not to the world, but to yourself in total knowing. It is already mine. Now, listen closely, because in the next few minutes, a shift will take place in you. Not through effort, but through remembrance. Because what you are about to hear is not to be memorized, but recognized. There was a woman who sat in the back row of one of Neville's small lectures in New York. She said nothing, took no notes, asked no questions. Neville noticed her silence, but he didn't disturb it. What he didn't know was that her entire life was collapsing. Her fiancé had left her. Her bank account was nearly empty. She had no plan, no hope. But something had told her to be there. She listened, and something shifted. Because when Neville said, "Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled," she didn't hear it as an idea. She heard it as permission. That night in the quiet of her small apartment, she didn't light a candle. She didn't write affirmations. She simply closed her eyes and whispered, "It is already mine." And for the first time, she didn't hope. She didn't beg. She didn't wait. She knew. Within a week, her ex contacted her, not to return, but to thank her for letting go with grace. And days later, she met someone new. Not at a party, not through effort, but standing in line for coffee. He was kind, grounded, and wildly successful. Today, they've built a business together and a life. She didn't chase. She didn't visualize endlessly. She remembered who she was and claimed it. So here's the question. How do you become the version of you that reality responds to? Let me tell you another story. A man had struggled for years in debt. He attended every seminar, read every book, tried every method. He even tried to feel rich while surrounded by overdue bills. But nothing changed until he changed how he spoke to himself. One day he read Neville's words. You must live as though the wish were already fulfilled. Not wish, not want. Live. So he stopped asking. He stopped checking his bank account with dread. He stopped doubting. And every time a fear thought came, he would close his eyes and calmly say, "It is already mine." He stopped trying to feel wealthy. And instead, he started being the man who had already received. He didn't force confidence. He remembered it. Within 2 months, an old friend offered him a freelance opportunity. That opportunity led to a retainer, which led to a team, which led to a 6-figure contract with a tech company. Not because he hustled harder, but because he shifted first. And now you've chased, you've hoped, you've waited for the sign, the moment, the confirmation. But reality is not waiting to reward you. It's waiting for you to assume. So ask yourself honestly, if it were already done, how would you breathe? How would you walk? What would you no longer need to control? The answer is simple. You would relax, you would trust, you would live. So say it now. Out loud or in the quiet of your mind, it is already mine. And let that be the last time you ask for it. Because when you decide, reality responds. But here's the secret most never understand. The shift doesn't happen because you say the words. It happens because of who you become after you say them. You stop looking for proof. You stop acting like someone in lack. You stop needing signs because you already know. This is the energy that bends time, that collapses delays, that unlocks doors that logic says should be closed. And when doubt arises, and it will, you do nothing. You don't fight it. You don't explain yourself. You return to the knowing. Because this isn't about feeling perfect. It's about remembering what's already true. Neville taught this. He lived it. Not to give you something to believe in, but to remind you that your assumption is creation. Now it's your turn. Speak the truth just once. Let it echo through the silence. Let it rearrange your reality, because the version of you that already has it already exists. And when you assume it's done, you stop chasing, you stop hoping, you allow. And that's when everything shifts. If this spoke to something deep within you, don't just let it fade. Like this video, subscribe for more truths like this, and share it with someone who's ready to shift their reality. Because sometimes, one sentence is all it takes.